Hey, Cheech, you know what
Yeah,
today is in podcast history, man?
say that again. I didn't hear you.
Do you know what today is in podcast history of the Cheech and
I
Manny show?
I actually do. We're gonna be filming our 70th episode. Isn't that crazy? 70
Dude,
episodes.
dude, that is crazy, man. Is that true? Can we fact check that?
We can totally fact check that. And not only do you get music, you get true crime and horror in those 70 episodes. And about 20 of them are our good friend Silky Joe. And we've had some great guests in the past too, like Daquan the chef and Mark. So we've done everything from rap to prog rock. So it's our 70th episode. I'm looking forward to recording it today.
Listen, man, we got so much to celebrate on the Cheech and Manny music show. Subscribe, and we'll see you on here.
See you on the other side.
Join us on our 70th episode. So exciting!
Definitely.
All right. And we're back. We are live. This is the Cheech and Manny music show. I'm Manny. I'm joined by the people's bassist, Cheech Carrero. Cheech, what's going on, Chris? They,
What's
they
going
call you
on?
Chris. They still call you Chris, or
Oh, the old timers do at the temple only. Only when my mom is really pissed at me, I hear that. You know, and my ex-wife, my
you say your ex-wife.
Joey's mom, Chris. But
Whoa,
anyway,
wait, Cheech, quick, 5 second history. Where did Cheech come from?
oh man, Cheech came from my dad watching Cheech and Chong on some kind of show, and I was like a 5-year-old kid, and he just started calling me Cheech because Cheech was like a madman. Cheech was always running around doing crazy stuff, and I was a 5-year-old lunatic Cheech. So he just started calling me Cheech. Thanks to my dad. Thank you, Dad. And then every time, it'd be like my friends would be over, like I'd be in first grade, and be like, all right, Cheech, dinner, Cheech, get the garbage, Cheech. Then one kid called me Cheech, another kid called me Cheech. And then by third grade, I'm Cheech. And the teachers are like, that's your nickname? Do you know who these people are? Cheech and Chong? And I'm like, I kind of do. I had no idea, but you know what I mean? It was like, so yeah. That's the
Dude,
history.
that's awesome.
Thank you, Dad. And
Dude,
it's
that's
stuck.
awesome.
50 years later, being called Cheech.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I know. It's funny because I don't think no one knows Cheech and Chong anymore. So, I mean, it's catchy. It fits. So,
Yeah, and I was never the weed guy. I was always
well,
more of a
that's the thing. It's funny
singer.
because Cheech and Chong are, I knew them, but I didn't know they were like into that weed culture, which is weird. I
Well,
never
they
knew.
invented it. The movies are in my opinion, some of the greatest movies ever made are Cheech and Chong movies. Like as far as comedy goes, oh my God, Nice Dreams, Things Are Tough All Over.
Right,
Um,
right. No,
the
no, and
next,
our show is a play on that, the Cheech and Manny show. For all our
yeah.
viewers out there, that's how we came up with the idea.
I recommend. Now you got me going. Up in Smoke. Things Are Tough All Over. Nice Dreams. Those are the classic Cheech and Chong movies, the best comedy movies ever. And then another thing, people will call me Cheech is an Italian thing. And most people with the name Cheech, their name is Frank. Don't know
Mm.
why. So I'll meet a lot of people be like, "Oh, you're Frank, right?" I'm like, "No." And then I explain my father gave me the nickname as a kid, So like I'm sure in Spanish there's names like completely different for somebody's
Yeah,
name.
right,
Yeah,
right, right.
I
No,
can't think of any, but I knew somebody, who had a name like that. So
dude, that's awesome, man. All right, we're gonna enter the court of the Crimson King.
yes,
We
and
are continuing our Prague journey, and now we are leaving behind Canterbury,
yes,
and we are going to be for our viewers out there, join us on this Prague journey. We're on this Prague kick.
yeah.
No, we did not forget Bruce Springsteen,
No,
but
we'll get back.
we'll return to New Jersey's finest.
Yeah, I've written like the Prague Bible pretty much for the Cheech and Manny show. I just wrote The best prog keyboard player. It will pick from the best prog bass player, singer we were just talking about,
Yeah.
guitar player, and then we're going to talk about the big four right now, and then Silky Joe's going to be on, and we're going to do the best, our favorite prog songs of all time, the top, 5 to 10. I wrote Foxtrot, so we're going to do the whole album. Supper's Ready, I think, took a little bit out of my brain. I might never be the same. And it's the only time I analyze something twice. And I go back
Yeah.
to my first and second one. And I started on Court of the Crimson King today, as you know. So Talk to the Wind is now my new favorite song on that album. So
Oh man. And that's what we are going to be talking about today. We're beginning with some of the greats. No, not really album in-depth reviews or analyzing, but more
yeah.
looking at the greats of Prague and also the four great bands. I mean, there are more, but
Well, I wrote up. We're gonna do if we get to four, today. If not, there's like 4 or 5 other ones that I think people should check out. In my opinion,
mm,
we'll get there. So want to start off with probably the I don't know the greatest prog band of all time. The
mm.
ones who started it. You might be debatable about it, but I think most people will agree on this.
Well, I will say before, obviously it's King Crimson, but
Yeah.
a lot of people say like bands like the Moody Blue, the band the Moody Blues. The only thing about them is that they're more pop though. I don't view them as even though they were really doing really cool stuff,
Yeah.
especially on the song Nights in White Satin,
Yeah.
um, and also the album cover, which is like very artsy. But
Well, they come up a lot in Genesis. Genesis. Oh
they
no, I'm
do.
sorry. No, I'm sorry. Procol Harum. Genesis took a lot from Procol Harum as far as arrangements and stuff on Foxtrot. Now, I brought up the Moody Blues on prehistoric Prague. So, because the Moody Blues came out in 67, 68,
Yeah.
and they were definitely a Prague band. And then I don't know what happened to them.
Well,
Like
see,
they
but I feel like that album is not prog. It's like too poppy and it's like really accessible. And when I say that is that um a lot of people say it's the Moody Blues, and I can see that. But
Yes,
I think no, the first prog rock album and truly progressive rock is King Crimson's and the Court of
definitely.
the Crimson King.
No doubt. No
And,
doubt.
and again, and I'm not saying that the Moody Blues isn't prog. If anything, I think they get more prog here, but that song and album. It's a great album,
Oh
great
yeah.
song. But to me, it sounds like some of your 60s songs. And probably
Yeah.
the it probably sounds, you know how the 60s music was in total evolution? Like
Yeah.
definitely by that point, you got a lot of psychedelia and all that good
Yeah.
stuff. But with Court of the Crimson King, you truly have a progressive out there. Album cover is frightening. Music is intense,
Oh my
epic,
God.
and creates the template for progressive metal. Rush, Genesis are looking at this band, taking notes. Like it is,
I mean, I'm gonna even say heavy metal. I think Sabbath. I know Tony Iommi was influenced by 21st Century Schizoid Man. Roger Glover was. Roger
yeah,
Glover told me that's one of the greatest riffs ever written. He wished he wrote that riff. Now Roger Glover helped write "Smoke on the Water," one of the greatest riffs in rock history. He said he wished he wrote 21st Century Schizoid Man. That,
yeah,
in my opinion, that is one of the greatest riffs ever written in music history. That
yeah.
down, down, down,
Dude,
down, down. You know?
it just the way I view it is Crimson King, first of all, and it's funny because if anyone is not so you really need to understand progressive rock, but before I go there, our young people, you probably know Crimson King from Kanye's West. And
Yeah,
yes, Kanye West loves prog, right? Because how
that's
did he
awesome.
stumble upon this sample? But this album belongs in this genre of progressive rock. And again, for a little review, Cheech, what is progressive rock? So for our viewers just tuning
So
in.
Progressive rock is a style of rock that encompasses classical or orchestrations, jazz influence, musical virtuosity. Um, the song forms are going to be long and conceptual. They're going to break away from verse, chorus. They're going to go into verse jam for 20 minutes, go into a post chorus, then go into the pre-chorus, and then go back. So the arrangement is how they arrangement. They're going to have 20-minute long songs. The themes are going to be about philosophy, mysticism, mystical themes, history,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So that's
And,
my definition.
and that's, dude, professor, thank you. And then that's a versus, because nowadays rock is kind of dead, sadly. I mean, I sang shout out to a band, I think I mentioned this,
Oh yeah,
called
yeah, love them.
Peace, is reviving indie rock. But again, that's hopefully it, you know, spreads and lands.
Yeah.
But sadly, most songs are so simplistic in their songwriting.
Hmm.
And mind you, going back into time, the Beatles, for example, would go from, love, love me do, to actually get more complex but not as complex as what progressive rock will give us. And
No.
already, and this you need to understand this. I feel like it's next level music listening. It's like
It
listening
is.
to jazz. You don't listen to I mean,
Yeah.
of course you can listen to jazz, put it in the background, and jazz has been accused of that. It was
Yeah.
just like elevator music. But when you
Yeah.
really listen to it, now you're conceptually listening and following the music. And in the case of progressive rock, it's a whole package. Album cover,
Right. I
songwriting,
forgot that. Exactly.
music,
Great point.
conceptual theme, and the you mentioned virtuosity. I mean, King of the Crimson, Court of the Crimson King, dude. It's crazy because I just think of how old they were.
Kids. They were kids, man.
Dude,
21, you know. I
that's
mean,
insane. And I think it goes to show you the high culture and high education of English society
yep.
because a lot of them were very well read. And Court of the Crimson King is crazy. They take on, and you don't find this in regular music, regular pop or
No.
rock music, where it's philosophical. It is also talking about the human condition,
Yep.
hence the frightening album cover of where this person is just utter terrified. Reminds me of the painting The Scream by
Yeah.
Edward,
Mhm.
I think it's Edward Munch or Monk
Yeah.
or Munch,
Yeah. Munch, yeah, Munch, I think. Yeah.
where the scream, which is just I'm surprised that's not on an album cover, um but you have these themes of isolation,
Mhm.
of human nature
You
and
you
Greg.
nailed it. I was just analyzing it today, and whatchamacallit, 21st century schizoid man is kind of against the Vietnam War and all the politicians.
Well, dude, it reminds me of Apocalypse Now because think about it. And actually funny you say that because I just watched a great documentary called Hitler and the Nazis on Netflix. It's
We were
so
talking about
amazing.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Highly recommend. But then looking at the horrific, the how war damages you and
Oh God, yeah.
leaves you frightening and like cynical. On
Yeah,
this album, I could hear that because 21st Century Schizoid Man is you need to understand what's a schizoid, that split personality between what you experience through trauma and how that leaves you. And
yeah,
in the 21st century, it causes this weird like cognitive dissonance. And that's what the album's
exactly.
about in a
Yeah,
nutshell.
it is totally.
Even musically, it's like so in your face. Bam, bam, now, it's
You
like a
know,
punch.
disillusionment from life.
Yeah.
That's one of the key
No.
concepts on
a-
Court of the Crimson King.
And we said it's so relevant for today, especially us working at the
Oh
temple,
my
how
God.
we feel like 21st century schizoid dudes
Eh,
sometimes.
They should play that, and as soon as
The
the okay, knife in one hand, cut glove in the other hand, apron with the name tag.
Bam, da,
Take everything off the floor. We're gonna open the doors. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
bam, da.
It's like
Dude, but yeah, but it's like this. And actually, what's funny? I'm 100% sure Pink Floyd was influenced by this album for Dark Side of the Moon because
everything was.
they carry those themes into, Dark Side.
Yeah.
And obviously they add a touch of blues and smoothness to it because Crimson is just I view it as the best way I can describe it. It's like the Tolkien of progressive rock. It is
Yes.
so epic.
Hmm.
Every prog rock band, in my opinion, tries to match it. I mean,
Yep.
you can't deny
Core
it.
of the Crimson King is the first real prog rock. That's the template where every band took it from. You know, there were Yes was making albums at the time. Other prog rock bands were out there. Genesis was starting out, but they really weren't really proggy. Obviously, the ELP wasn't together because Greg Lake was, in Crimson. But who else was out there?
Jethro Tull was
Over
starting out.
they were
They were
starting
starting
out.
out.
Yeah, Benefit had just come out and stuff. So there's definitely amazing prog elements. I don't care what Ian Anderson has to say. They're a fucking prog band,
Oh, dude, they're a prog band.
but they just got played on the radio a lot because their
Right,
songs were precise and they could be
right,
radio
right,
friendly.
right.
No. But yeah. So I could get. You want me to jump right into it a little
Jump
bit?
right in.
The first prog rock band. Okay. This is going to be. Let's see. King Crimson, English prog rock band from London, 1968. Robert Fripp on guitars. Now, here's the key. Here's the secret sauce. Mel Collins. Don't talk about him. Everyone talks about Greg Lake, Michael
Mm.
Giles, Fripp. Secret sauce is Mel Collins. Sax, flute, mellotron, clarinet. This is the guy who added those little things in there,
Yeah,
especially the mellotron,
yeah,
that you're listening and going, what is that? What is that?
yeah,
He's not
yeah.
even mentioned. Michael Giles, who did he influence? He influenced some guy we talk about all the time. You know
Hmm.
who?
If I had to take a guess, I'm assuming Michael Giles, right?
The drummer, yeah.
The drummer,
Yeah.
Neil Peart.
Yep. And he talks
Dude,
about it.
yo, you know what's crazy? You hear that in Fly By Night.
Oh yeah.
His
Oh
introduction.
yeah.
Dude, I don't know if Neil Peart like was listening to this and like studying the drum patterns, but
He was.
dude,
He was. He was.
without Giles, there is no Neil Peart. And it's
Yeah.
crazy because jumping forward. Phil Collins doesn't drum like that. Phil Collins
No.
has another way of drumming. It's more
Yeah.
powerful. Phil Collins, I would kind of call like a more restrained, like Keith Moon. Like Keith Moon is all over the place,
Yeah. Yeah.
but Phil Collins has power. Like he knows how to, maybe he's like the John Bonham in the progressive world.
Right.
Um, but nobody was drumming like that, and especially those
No.
fills. Like,
Oh
dude,
yeah.
he's doing all these fills, and at one point, I think there's a drum solo in 21st Century Schizoid Man. Like,
Hmm.
it's dude, Pert. This is Pert's like spiritual success, godfather, and he will
Yeah.
continue that and just push it to its limits.
And he talks about it in the episode on the Rush documentary. He says he's the guy that made him want to play drums. And even listen to what is the song? Talk to the Wind that I sent you. Talking
Hmm.
to the Wind. Listen to what he's playing in there. It's a ballad, and he's doing these jazzy things. The guy's amazing.
Yeah.
Underrated drummer. Underrated master drummer. Um. Say Mel Collins, Michael Giles. All right, now don't get me started on this guy, Greg Lake. I mean,
I so
Greg
so
Lake. I
so
can't get enough of Greg Lake.
now for our listeners out there, Cheech, quick, who is Greg Lake and why is this a big deal?
Okay, Greg Lake is the singer of King Crimson on the first two albums. Okay, and then he joined this little band called Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Which is like a super group, am I right?
Yeah, they were a super group because you had Greg Lake coming from the Nice. I believe Carl Palmer played with Atomic Rooster and another band. I forget the guy's name. Arthur Brown. Arthur Brown. He was like a solo guy. And he had that song Fire. It's called Fire. That I think that's him. And then Greg Lake coming out of King Crimson. Now Greg Lake does not get enough credit. He's overshadowed, I think, by Keith Emerson because
Mm.
Emerson is God and one of the greatest keyboard player ever. But they had masterful, forget the virtuistic conceptual songs like Tarkus and all that stuff and Barbarian and Pictures at an Exposition. Lucky Man, Still You Turn Me On. Um, what is the one you always talk about?
Oh,
There's
in the
no,
beginning?
in the beginning. So like these are songs that they're like yacht rock kind of songs,
Yeah, they're
with
masterful.
heavy mood going on. So Greg Lake's voice, it's rich, it's baritone, it's beautiful. His bass playing it's insane. He's doing counter melodies, but once again it gets overshadowed by the keyboards. You're not thinking of Greg Lake's bass when you're listening to Emerson Lake and Palmer that much because you're thinking of all the insane shit the drumming and the keyboards are doing. And that's why I think a lot of people don't talk about Greg Lake as much as say Chris Squire, in my
Right,
opinion.
right.
If you really listen to Emerson, Lake and Palmer, go back and listen to some of those bass lines. They're incredible. And his voice,
Mm.
underrated. And like I said in our pre-show conversation, he might be my favorite prog rock singer. His voice is
Mm.
gorgeous. It's beautiful. Amazing.
No, no, and especially on the Court of the Crimson King. And it's funny because he starts out heavily distorted, and this was something
Oh
kind
yeah.
of new. This was very new, like kind
Yeah.
of early punk as well, like where his voice is distorted, and it's just sort of like very like whoa. But
Yeah.
then when he starts going into the other songs, you hear how beautiful his voice is, and
Yeah.
just the way he sings, and it comes to an epic um height catharsis on in the Court of the Crimson King song
Yeah.
where especially when he sings in the court of the crimson King, it just does those
Yeah.
choirs and like it's
Oh yeah.
so it feels like I feel like I'm watching some like prophetic like vision or something or hearing
Oh
some.
yeah.
It's insane, but
It's
yeah,
so
great
powerful.
vocals. It's
Yeah.
epic, and I'm just
Yeah.
mind boggled that he was only 21 or 20.
Um, he was super young. Like these guys were under 20, excuse me, under 23 easily. They were easily under 23 years old making music like this. Because like I think 1969, he was born in 47. So he was 21 years old when he did this album.
Dude, that's insane.
Yeah, like a kid, playing bass on 21st Century Schizoid. I mean, listen to the bass. He's going crazy in that middle section. Insane. Robert Fripp is just off the charts. Michael Giles is insane. Ian McDonald is a sax solo. Then we have to talk about other members that were in there. Other bass players. The bass player from Bad Company, Boz Burrell, he was in King Crimson for one album. Bill Bruford from Yes, he played on Red in another album from 1972 to 74. Boz Burrell was in from 1971 to 72. Greg Lake from 1968 to 1970.
Mm,
John Wetton, a lot like Greg Lake, very
mm,
similar. Beautiful voice, beautiful bass playing, melodic,
mm.
rhythmic. He played with them from 72 to 74. David Cross played violin, and then Adrian Belew played from them from 1981 to 1989. I'm not
Mhm.
familiar with a lot of their stuff in the 80s, but they kept going and they kept doing their thing, which is
Mm.
cool. So some albums to check out. Trying to get my bearings here. Um, in the Court of the Crimson King, 1969. We can't you know there's so much we could say about this album. I'm lost for
I know,
words.
I
I
know. We
mean,
have to control ourselves because
yeah, we're
otherwise
gonna do
it'll
an
be a
episode
whole
on it.
King Crimson episode.
21st Century Schizoid Man. Like we said, the greatest prog song I think of all time, in my opinion. Epitaph, Moonchild, Court of the Crimson King. Those are just some of the songs on there. This album came out at the right time, and the right production, the right mood, and prog rock was not a thing yet. No one they
No,
coined it.
no.
They coined it. Like when it came out, it was just rock. And then a scene started. You could say like the way grunge happened or whatever. All of a sudden, Yes comes out. Then Genesis starts to come out, and then Emerson, Lake and Palmer comes out. All these super groups, and then it's like there's a whole movement. Gentle Giants coming
Yeah.
out. Wishbone Ash is coming out. Okay, it is prog rock at its best. This is prog rock. Um, then you have In the Wake of the Poseidon, some songs on there. Cat Food. The something triangle. I forgot the name of the song. Lark's Tongue and Aspect. Um, that the title itself is great. Book of Standards. Easy Money. Okay. Then my second favorite. I don't know now. I'm kind of. It is. I used to say this was my first favorite album. But this might be my second favorite album. Red. You
Yeah,
have
and that's a classic.
Yeah, you have to listen to Red. I was in a band that covered a lot of stuff off that album. Red is it's them as a trio. So they have Bill Bruford, and then they have John Wetton. And John Wetton's voice is beautiful on this album. Oh my God.
Mm,
It's amazing. It's soulful. His bass playing is brilliant. Bruford's drumming is magnificent, and Fripp is
mm,
insane. Heavy, progressive. You know, I think this is if Court of the Kinks and Crim was the beginning of prog rock, Red is the beginning of prog metal.
mm,
Real heavy metal, prog metal. Some songs of that: Red, Fallen Angel, Providence. That bass line is so fucking sick. It got distortion on it. Starless. Like I said, they were a trio, fathers of prog metal. Um, uh, so let's talk a little bit about Robert Fripp. Now his
mm,
style blends Jimi Hendrix with Igor Stravinsky and Bela Bartok.
I can hear that.
Now, when I say Hendrix, he doesn't sound like Hendrix because I don't think Fripp ever played a blues scale in his life. That's the difference. You talked about that, you brought this up. There's no blues in King Crimson. There's not a
No.
blues sound. It's all based on the diminished scale in the whole production.
Yes, yes, dude, and that's another great point with progressive rock because it leaves behind, and actually, it'll get hate later by like Rolling Stone
Yeah.
and the punks and anybody that wanted like that old school rock and roll. Like Bruce Springsteen, I don't think listens to prog, but
No.
but yeah, I love how you said that because they actually don't use any blues scale. And the only one that definitely does was Pink Floyd. But at
Yeah.
that point, Pink Floyd wasn't really, I mean, they're still prog, but they added the blues back in it, right? But
Yeah.
one of the things I noticed, no, they're influenced more by the classical stuff, the
Yeah.
classical scales, especially the musicianship
Oh
and
yeah.
the keyboard players.
They're
Like,
they're they're using minor scales. They're using the melodic minor, the harmonic minor, and the Aeolian minor, which is, the natural minor scale. And they're talking about Igor Stravinsky and Bela Bartok. Now, this is something that comes up with Emerson, Lake and Palmer and King Crimson. These are heavy duty 20th century composers, that these guys were listening to. This isn't your average musician. This isn't your average rock musician. Most of these guys are listening to Robert Johnson. These guys are listening to Bela Bartok and
yeah.
Bach, Mussorgsky. Heavy hitters. Um, so basically they any more about Fripp you want to talk about his style or his
Well,
tone?
I just think it's amazing everything he does, and it's crazy because you can also hear it on David Bowie's album, and I think it's the same title, but the song Heroes.
Oh
Or
yeah.
he has like he's just a insane guitar player, and and the
Yeah.
tones he gets out of it and his playing is like, and it's crazy because it's not blues scales. You're right.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just so virtuosic, and you know, I feel as though that at some point blues took over rock, which makes
Yeah.
sense, which makes
Yeah.
sense.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
But you forget the classical guitar component of it,
Hmm.
which
Yeah.
he was a
Yeah.
product of.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
great. And it's kind of funny because and it's and it's funny because if you look at Robert Fripp, he looks like a dad. Like
Yeah. I
he
know.
doesn't
And
like he
and
doesn't
he
even look like if you look at the album cover of Red, they all look like dads.
yeah. They do. They do. And they were also like Robert Fripp was going to become a priest. That's how bizarre he is.
Yeah, like in the prog rock world, he's legendary. Like it's
Oh yeah.
and his guitar tones are insane.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
David Bowie will end up hiring him for his album and song Heroes. And you
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
hear his guitar playing all he's such a genius, like what sounds he can
Oh
create.
yeah.
And you
And
hear it in Red. Red is an insane album. If you want an album
oh
to
oh
change
yeah.
your if you
Oh
want an I mean, all these albums are gonna change your brain chemistry. Kids, don't take LSD, don't do
yeah.
shrooms.
Listen to
Listen to
King Crimson.
Dude, listen to King Crimson and your brain chemistry is gonna change because
Oh yeah.
I listened to Red and there's one song, I forgot it's like in the middle. I'm blinking out on it.
Um
Do you know
yeah.
songs on Red?
Starless.
Dudes, yeah, that song. Oh my goodness, dude. Like,
I know you love that one, yeah.
dude, I love that song. It's definitely a song that change your brain chemistry. Like,
Oh
and
yeah.
Robert Fripp, I love seeing him live, but it's just funny because he looks like a dad. Like, it's just really hilarious to me
He
how
used
this
to sit
guy.
he used to sit down when he played. He didn't even give a shit, you know? He
Yeah,
just
no,
sat and
dude,
played.
yo, no, dude, he didn't give not one care. And it's just funny because you have guitar players like, and I think it's a swaggerness of like the blues rock world, which
Oh
makes
yeah.
sense. But Prog leaves that. They're like, yeah, we don't care. We're gonna actually show our musicianship, like,
Yeah.
and we actually know what we're doing.
The thing about I'm gonna get a little nerdy. The thing about Crimson, they used the diminished scales, the minor scales, the harmonic minor scales, the whole tone scales, and then their chord sequences were different. They used major chords going from the song I believe because I just learned it we were talking Talk to the Wind. It's an E major to a C major to like a D major. So to go from major to major to major, the sequences were weird. And then they pop in a minor chord. So they had these weird classical chord changes, which made it so different, which nobody was really doing at that time in 1969. Nobody was doing that. You know, it was all that 12 bar blues, the dominant scale, the blues scale, and nothing was that heavy. I mean, Sabbath was heavy, but like something about I think 21st century Schizoid Man is heavier than Sabbath. I might get flack for that, but
Uh,
it's heavier.
yeah, no, it's funny. It's funny how you mentioned that because uh 24 and I love how you said the diminished scales. You hear it. Like if you hear the sound of 21st century schizo mind,
Yeah,
like it's like bam, 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 bam,
yeah,
down, down. Like it just keeps going down. And on
yeah.
the ears, you're like, what? Versus Black Sabbath, which in a way, their first album, like I wonder if they heard King Crimson
Oh, they
because
were deaf. Naomi admitted that. So
no, no,
21st
let me tell you, you
century.
know why I tell you this? Because when you listen to Black Sabbath, their debut, bam, 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 like they
Well,
copy that and again, I'm not a musician. That's you would know that. You probably named it. Like they're going in this in this weird sound chord
and
change, and it's a on the ears. You're like, what? It's kind of spooky. It's like,
that's
and that's why.
amazing.
And
That
King
is
Crimson's music, dude.
mhm,
King in the Court of the Crimson King. It first of all is it's not a metal album, but they're definitely the archetypes of what later
exactly,
will become
exactly.
metal. but it sounds spooky, and that's why I'm saying it's brain chemistry changing. Where
Hmm.
you're listening to it, it's not like down 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 down
Yeah,
down down. No,
exactly.
that's the blues, which obviously by late 1960s, Jimi Hendrix is already pushing to its limits. We talked about Bob Dylan's blues style folk music. He was pushing
Hmm.
that to its limits. And the Beatles. We cannot forget the Beatles at that
Oh
point. They're
no.
masters of these scales. So much masters that they start to kind of deconstruct it and then add more
Yeah.
classical stuff into it, but still being very accessible and pop.
Yeah.
But there's a spookiness to a lot of this music. And that's why for our listeners out there who are not used to this, it's like listening to classical music. Like if you
It
really
is.
listen to some of the like Stravinsky, it's spooky, or
Oh
Tchaikovsky.
yeah. Oh
Like
yeah. What is
it's
it?
like,
The
what am I
right.
listening
Listen.
to?
Listen to the Rite of Spring by Stravinsky. It's a
Oh, dude.
unfucking believable music. Um, and you said, to go back to that Black Sabbath chord, that's the diminished. That's the flat five. That's all in the diminished scale. So when you flat that five, you're going to get a dissonant sound that's not pleasing to the ear. And I think I told you my music uh, college story. I don't know if
Wait, did you say it on our show?
I might have.
It's
So
a
when I
great
was
story.
so when when I was in music, Westchester Conservatory of Music, we used to have music dictation. And music dictation is somebody will play two or three notes, and you have to like write them out. You know, I could do it now. I can master it now. But a young 18-year-old Cheech, my ear was only tuned to the bass. I can hear it on the bass. I couldn't hear it on the piano. So they would play a major, a root. You have a triad, a root to the third, major, happy. I couldn't really hear it and write it. Okay, a root to the minor. I couldn't hear it and write it. A root to the fourth degree, like or the fourth degree would be from an F to a C in the key of C. Here comes the bride, boom, 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 boom. I couldn't hear that. My girl is uh is the five to the root, boom, 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 boom. I couldn't hear that, but I can hear a friggin' tritone. I would get an F on everything, and these classical kids are getting all this stuff right. So the teacher's like, all right. I don't understand this. You can't hear and write a major third. You can't hear and write a minor third. You can't hear a fourth to the root, a fifth to the root, but you hear a friggin' tritone. There's these kids that are studying violins. There's a kid, a classical virtuoso over here. He can't hear it. Tell me, how do you hear that? I said Black Sabbath, heavy metal. And
Thank you, Black
they
Sabbath.
and they couldn't believe it. They said, "Wow." So your ear is trained to hear heavy metal. So they said, you got to take that and put it into listening to the piano. I can hear a third in heavy metal. Let me learn any Black Sabbath song and the warning, boom, 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 boom. That's a root to the third. I heard that in a second, but I couldn't hear it on the piano. I could only hear it in heavy metal. So I had to retrain my ear in a sense. So that's just my Westchester Conservatory 1988 story. So anyway, complex prog rock, 20th century classical music, jazz, metal, avant-garde, uh, very melodic, going, from soft to loud, complex instrumentation, instrumental passages, great vocals, and melodies. Robert Fripp, heavy guitar tone. Um, he exper oh he this is interesting. He developed a concept called frippertonics. It's a tape delay system that he invented, and he also did low tuning. Talk about grunge and stuff, where they would tune down, or metal. He was tuning down like Sabbath. He was doing that before anybody. So that's what Robert Fripp was doing. So that sums up King Crimson. Anything else you want to bring up around King Crimson?
Just our listeners out there, listen to "In the Court of the Crimson King." I
Yeah.
mean, you want your mind blown, and like just and it's crazy because the way they do it, that's what music should do, in my opinion. Like I feel like music can be sellout, to quote
Yeah.
Brush, all this machinery making modern music can still be
Right.
open-hearted, right? Like a lot of the music, especially now with AI and like producing
Oh,
and
yeah, AI. Oh God.
now no one's really playing instruments and then they require like five songwriters.
Oh yeah.
When you and I love how you said Robert Frippatonics. I've
Yeah.
heard that before. And you can hear it. Like for example, like when you listen to Heroes, David Bowie's Heroes, you hear wow wow wow
Yeah.
like you had this like that
It's a
delay that you're
tape,
talking
it's
about.
a tape delay system. I don't know much about it. If anybody knows about it, please comment in it. That I came upon that in my research when I was researching Fripp.
Yeah,
You
no,
know.
I've heard no, and I've heard of that. Again, I'm not a musician, but I definitely hear it. Um, but you have just for our viewers out there, listen to the In the Court of the Crimson King, a
Yes.
10-minute epic um that is so sprawling. I mean, you can say so much things about it.
And technically, it's an EP. There's only 5 songs on it.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like
Epitaph,
so short.
Court of the Crimson King. 21st Century Schizoid Man. It's the first prog rock album, and I think it's the best prog rock album. And if you're a beginner in prog rock, start there. Start with King Crimson on the Court of the Court of the
Yeah,
Crimson King.
yeah.
Definitely.
And just for
You
that
know.
chorus too, because it starts out so soft and gentle. And again, that's what's great about King Crimson. In the dun 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 dun, dun, and he has a Greg Lake is just, and then he hits you with "In the Court of the Crimson," ha ha. Like I don't even know if they're singing that, but that's insane. And you just hear it. I don't even know what instruments they're playing, but it just hits you like and it
Yeah,
reaches
it's
your
so
they
deep.
reach your soul and
Oh
it's
yeah.
haunting. Like it's not easy listening. I'm not going to lie to everybody. Like, it's like watching, like it's like an acquired taste, but if you let it grab you, and that's the magic of that
Oh
album,
yeah.
it ends on this fantastic note. If there's nothing else, listen to that 10-minute epic In the Court of the Crimson King. And
Oh, it's
then for
genius.
Kanye West fans out there, listen to 21st Century Schizoid Man because Kanye West sampled that, 21st Century
And
Schizoid.
and and that's genius. And he put the drums in there and everything.
Oh, he's genius for that.
Michael Giles got a nice royalty. That's great.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
you know it because that song was a
Kanye.
massive hit.
Kanye, man, he is a schizoid man. That's probably why he did it.
Dude, he was probably in the studio and came across this album and he's like, "Oh, this song perfectly describes me. I am a schizoid man," because he is
And,
a
and
schizoid.
and I think like he's an artist too. So he would know King Crimson. I think he's really super talented, Kanye. I got to
Oh,
sneeze.
oh,
Excuse me. Oh God. Okay. Sorry. Freezing in my room.
Oh yeah, man. No, and I agree with you. Like he's definitely an artist.
Yeah. So. All right, you want to jump into our next? Do we have time?
Let's see. Who's the next one?
ELP.
Woo! Let's see. Maybe we should save it. Do you have a shorter one?
um, let me see. Hold on. Yes or Genesis?
Oh man, those are epic.
How about this? Since we don't have a lot of time, we'll let me see something. Give me a second. Oh God, I got so much thick as a brick. Um, let's talk about North American Prague.
oh, that's great. That's good. Yeah. Because okay, before we continue bombarding you off with like the English progressive rock bands, which by the way, I mean, you just mentioned Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Oh my goodness. Yes. Genesis, Jethro Tull. I think that there's an
Yeah,
English invasion. I would throw in Pink Floyd in there. Um, um, yeah, Gentle Giant, dude.
yeah,
Like something
Renaissance.
Renaissance, something about the
Sis-
English. Like they're so intellectual
oh yeah,
and they're able to push progressive rock and all these boundaries. It's funny, in America though, there is a prog rock scene and you have
okay,
some notable bands.
yeah. So, um, let me see. We have in America right after prog rock stopped. You could say The Lamb Lays Down on Broadway. It's the last real prog rock album. We're going for the One by Yes. It's debatable. Um, but in America, you have North American prog rock, and I'm going to name the bands. You have Frank Zappa is definitely
And,
prog rock in North America.
and we talked about this. He was sort of like a forerunner, so he had an influence.
Oh,
Although
oh yeah,
he's a nut, but he's very hard to pin down. Frank Zappa's weird. Like
yeah.
he's jazz fusion, progressive rock, blues rock as well sometimes, and
Hmm.
on top his own animal. Like I
Oh,
wouldn't even
oh
know.
yeah.
I
I mean,
wouldn't even know how to
you ever hear the
classify
song
him.
Black Page? It's insane. Oh my God, it's like so many notes they called it Black Page. Um, then you have Styx, which is very proggy in their early
Mm,
years,
in the
and
early
then
years.
and even when they got into the MTV era,
Mhm.
they definitely used, like Mr. Roboto, they used concepts and stuff
Yep.
like that. So
Yep.
they were definitely influenced, always as a conceptual band or a prog rock band. Um, and you just saw Styx. Um, Kansas, was the album Left Overture. When
Hmm.
you listen, to me, I think the greatest prog rock radio song is Carry On Wayward Son.
Yeah.
No doubt, no doubt about it. It's because it has everything you want in a song. It has a chorus that's beautiful and amazing. It has the verse gets mellow with the piano. You know, the chorus is like earworms. Carry, how it opens up. It opens up with the chorus. It's genius.
Dude, those harmonies.
Yeah.
I don't know if they double track their vocals, but I think it's harmonies,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which is very, and that's interesting how they opened up. Like, it's very proggy to do that.
They open up with the chorus, and it's just beautiful. And then the riff.
And then just the riff right in your face. Yeah.
So it's classic rock, prog rock.
And then the piano, ding 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 ding, da, da, da. Like it's just
Then it
all
gets
these
mellow.
moods. It's epic.
And then here's the prog rock part. Down, down, down,
Yeah, yeah.
down, down, down. It gets into that, and then it gets into that. There's another part where it's like where they do these hits,
Yeah,
the
no.
bass and the drums.
Is it the parts like da 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 da
Down,
like
down,
dude,
down, down.
dude, so epic.
So this is a 7 minute long song played on the radio in
Mhm.
1976. Same year, 2112 is out, So Kansas is definitely, I would say, the number one next to Zappa, but Zappa is his own beast. I think Kansas is the best American prog rock band. They're not the only one, but they're, like I said, Styx, they're the best. They're the best.
Mm.
And then you had like Dust in the Wind. They were like ELP. They
Yep,
got
yep.
mellow.
Very
They have
pastoral.
violin. And then just listen to anything on their album. It's proggy as hell. It's just as proggy as ELP
Hmm.
or Crimson. It gets heavy. Uh, then Early Journey is
Right,
definitely proggy.
right.
You have to search out those albums to find that out.
Hmm.
And then, I'm not going to go too crazy, but the little band from Canada that we talked about many,
Oh,
many, many times. I mean,
this little band. I mean, they're nobodies compared to,
yeah,
Kansas or something. No, but dude, yeah, you cannot deny like Rush. And it's crazy because I feel like that's one of the reasons why they were hated because they were pushing this progressive sound at the time when it was dying. Like,
yeah,
but you had people that I think we're hungry for this stuff. That's why when they
Well,
dropped 2112, I
yeah,
mean, a lot of people think, "Oh man, epic 20-minute suite." But it's been done before. Like concepts like this, it was done before.
yeah,
The
yeah.
the
Supper's
the,
ready.
the only difference is that Rush brought it back, and they
and,
love
and
progressive
they
rock.
made it heavy. They
They made
made
it
it heavy,
heavy.
just like Kansas did. You know, so 1976 is a pivotal year for prog rock to begin again. So if it ends in 74 with The Lamb Lays Down on Broadway, there was a period where a development was happening with prog bands. Styx, Kansas, and Rush were learning their chops. 1976, Left Overture comes out. Classic Kansas, Carry On Wayward Son. 2112, just like Genesis, 2112, whole side, 20 minutes. The next album, four regular songs. Where did they get that from? They got that from Foxtrot. And they reinvented it and they made it a brand new sound. They took it to another level. They took it to a
Yep, yep.
level that, like, you know,
And it's crazy because and Styx too, because they I think one of their best proggiest albums is The Grand Illusion
yeah.
and Crystal Ball. I mean, that song alone
Oh,
and
yeah.
Pieces of Bait, the album covers are also very progressive.
What year was Pieces of Eight? Was that
I think it was
76?
76, 77.
Yeah. So 76, 77, the prog rock
No,
revival.
and Blue Collar Man opens up with I think what's it sounds
Organ.
like an organ. Yeah. Bam,
Yeah.
bam, bam,
Oh,
bam,
yeah.
bam, 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 down, down.
So
And
they're bringing back that Emerson Lake and Yes sound.
yep. And
You
I
know.
saw them live, dude. Like I forgot how prominent the synthesizer is. Like in prog rock, Moog and synthesizer and keyboards go
Oh
hand
yeah.
in hand. And
Oh yeah. Yeah.
later on, and I think what Rush did, which is, I agree with you, Kansas, um, and I think the Point of No Return and Left Overture being the greatest,
Yeah.
is probably in American prog the best in terms of all songs, and especially how, like 21st Century Schizoid Band, it opens up with Carry On My Wayward Son.
Yeah.
And it's just fantastic. The only difference is that they're such masters that they made it radio friendly but complex. It's a paradox.
Oh
But
yeah.
Rush on Farewell to King, so they started already, and they've been already in that prog with Fly By Night.
Yeah.
Um, Caress of Steel, they experimented with that
Oh yeah.
both
That's
sides.
definitely prog. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but of course, 2112, and it's crazy because I'll be honest with you, the 2112 suite is heavy, but it's great. It's not prog though. It's just long. Like it's just
Yeah. Yeah.
great metal, early metal music with
Yeah.
conceptual. But then the second half is all soft rock tunes, like
Yeah.
Steely
Well,
Dan type.
with the exception of Something for Nothing, Lessons, then you have Tears, like we talked about. It's very,
No, but dude, it's like Steely Dan. Like every time I listen to that
yeah.
side, it sounds like Steely Dan. But anyway, my point is that Denim Farewell to Kings with Xanadu,
Oh yeah.
they've entered prog rock Hall of Fame pantheon
Oh
status.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
where now they didn't care, they were brave, and they were saying we won with 2112. Now we're gonna release more of this stuff.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
eventually it's funny because it breaks them on Hemisphere. So it's that famous, 21-minute epic where now we're it's proggy. That is prog. Different
Yeah.
moods,
When they
different
hit
time.
Hemispheres, they were officially a prog band. Farewell to Kings was leading up to it with Xanadu. 2112, definitely Prague, but Hemispheres is like going. They even went to Wales to record it, and that's where all these bands, these prog bands,
There we
recorded
go.
these albums. You know,
There we go. And
I think
almost
it
every
was.
song hits that prog status. I mean,
Yeah.
every song, from the pastoral and parable, the trees to, yeah, like every song, even, oh man, La Via Strangiato is itself is like a unique
Oh yeah.
offering of Rush. But yeah, so on the North American side, we have these great prog rock albums and bands and sound. Now, it was short-lived though, because I
Yeah.
think it got transformed. You know what it is? I think, you know, rock at that point was transforming. So new
Yeah.
wave was coming, punk was coming, and arena rock, which we know
It
arena
came
rock
out.
isn't prog, but
So Arena Rock kind of destroyed, well, like the new beginning of prog rock, which like Rush started and they were really successful with it. Kansas was successful with it to a point, and then they kind of became arena rock. They
yes, yes,
they kind of switched
yes,
over.
yeah,
Bands we forgot to well, we're in North America, so I'm not going to bring up UK, but Styx became more radio friendly rock,
yes,
but
yes.
they had concepts,
No,
Mr. Roboto.
the concepts were still there. And again, I'm not saying like any album is not conceptual. Like Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run is conceptual, but the difference is that they continued this, like the whole album is a story, is a concept.
Right.
And they were, I think, probably, but sadly with Kilroy was here, it was sort of fizzled. I know the band hated making that album and that
Yeah, yeah.
concept. At that point, that's all Dennis DeYoung, I think's concept.
But when you think about Dennis DeYoung, his voice is so different too.
Yeah, it's he has a very unique voice.
Yeah. So I mean, it has like a prog operatic Broadway
Yep,
voice. That's what
yep,
made them proggy and
yep.
different,
It's a great point.
So you can't forget about North America. I mean, I probably forgot other bands, but there's the North American prog movement, and I would say Rush, Kansas, and Styx are the big. I mean, Frank
Well,
Zappa has
but
to
you
be
know,
mentioned,
but Cheech,
but
I have to say from the American audience, dude, I'll be honest with you. I think Prague. I'm happy those bands succeeded, um, but I don't know. I feel like progressive rock wasn't landing with the Americans because I just think Americans are different. Like I don't know. I'm not trying to insult them, but you know, they
it didn't last. It didn't.
no, it was
Rush
short-lived.
Rush did. Rush continued, thank God, to be proggy.
Mhm.
Kansas got into the MTV world. Dust in the Wind was the biggest song in the world at one point.
Mhm.
Imagine that. Like they were flying high, with Carry On and Dust in the Wind, but then they kind of went in a different direction. Styx went in a total different direction, and then Frank Zappa was never commercial, so that's why people
Yeah.
don't really, you know,
No, and he's out there. Like he'll make a prog record, but then go really far left, and he just did his
yeah.
own thing.
And I couldn't think of other proggy North American bands. We know what it is interesting. If you listen to Long Time Foreplay by Boston,
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
that is prog.
So it's funny because I don't know what inspired them to put that song in the album because it's very unique. Because the album is just what it's the arena rock template, but then
Oh yeah.
they add foreplay and long time, and that beginning section is it's like
It's
a
like
tubular bells. It's like a
Emerson,
Emerson
Lake
like
and Palmer. Yeah, it's
before be-
proggy.
before it hits you with the arena rocks. It was like Boston showing off a little bit, and
Yeah.
they're kind of it's really the album cover. Like they
There's
walk that
a
fine
little bit of
edge.
elements in there. Musicianship does mean proggy a little bit.
Yeah,
If you're a good
yeah.
musician, you're capable of doing prog rock.
No,
So,
and do the keyboards.
oh my God. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun, dun,
dude,
like
it's just musical,
yeah,
like
it's
ecstatic.
it's amazing. But yeah, so you have that North American prog rock scene, short-lived from 76 to say 78. Then arena rock came in, Oreo Speedwagon, obviously Boston, Journey. Then moving forward, Genesis changed their role, and then you get like, they're English, but like Genesis took over for radio, MTV came in, and then all these bands kind of just completely changed. So, but yeah, that's my North American prog rock. Any comments on that? Any other things you want to add or?
Nah, man, I think this was good. We're continuing our prog rock journey. No, we're not done yet because I think next stop is ELP, aka
Yes.
Emerson, Lake and Palmer. So we'll go back on the English side of things. So we just had
Yeah.
to mention America and obviously Rush, which we have a lot of back catalog on them.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, I love what you said. And I think just one last note here is that another thing about American prog that's fascinating to me, it's not as they don't there's not many long pieces as what you see from the English. Like, there's no 20-minute
No.
except with the Canadians. But
Yeah. Yeah.
like because Canadians Rush have to be they're geniuses, but like everything's very accessible. Like it's kind of funny. Like they're kind of like walking that line, but at the same time, like very proggy, like proggy sounds, like the
Yeah.
prog elements are there, album cover design, concepts, but they're radio friendly.
Oh
I feel
yeah,
like
definitely.
they walk that fine line. Meanwhile, in the English side of things, especially you start getting more proggier stuff, you got 22-minute epics, like you
Yeah.
got really high conceptual pieces. I mean, at one point, Genesis releases The Landlines Down on Broadway, a
Mhm.
double album of just like they went all over the place where they have their most successful songs are still weird.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I love what you said. It wouldn't be fixed until Genesis becomes Americanified. I made that word up, but Americanized,
Yeah.
American by Phil
You-
Collins,
Because
where
they were on American radio with Carry On, Wayward Son, with Boston,
right.
with Styx. They were all mixed in there. Sailing by Styx. That's a prog. That's kind of a proggy radio song.
Yeah, yeah.
Come Sail Away. Um, but I would say the best North American prog song radio, excluding Rush. Rush just, I mean, Rush, like, during this time, well, during the time, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, Rush wasn't getting played on the radio with their prog stuff, so
Well,
you
but the
can't
but
count
the,
Rush.
but the thing is, one of the things that's interesting about Prague is that, especially on the English side of things, not much was played on the radio. Like because it was so. I get it. Like it's hard to play. Maybe 21st Century Schizo, man. But I feel like that's after it's become classic rock. But
Yeah.
you know, you're not gonna play Supper's Ready the 22 minute on the
No,
radio. Like
no,
you're
no.
not gonna put a, like a freaking because the radio is supposed to draw in listeners fast and like keep
Yeah.
them entertained. There was an exception, and that exception was Pink Floyd, where
Yeah.
Pink
Yes.
Floyd, after Echoes, managed to break, and they offered this unique blend of rock, high art rock, um, while of course being still progressive, but they Americanized themselves. It's kind of hard to describe like what they did.
Yeah.
And later on, they have one of the most biggest hits of their careers, um, Another Brick in the Wall Part Two,
Oh yeah.
which especially with MTV and that stuff,
Yeah.
But um, but yeah, I think it's fascinating that we have this American prog versus English prog,
Yeah.
and
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 and a lot of
obviously
people don't
and
think about
obviously
it.
the redheaded stepchild is Rush, where they're kind of like you know
Yeah, and Rush kind of doesn't count because they didn't really get radio play. They got
no
closer to the
no
heart, but that's not a prog song. They got some radio play with the Trees. That was played on the radio. And then obviously this is 1980, so it doesn't count. But Spirit of the Radio. But as far as radio prog, the greatest radio prog song is Kansas, Carry
yep
On, Wayward
yep
Son.
and,
That's the greatest prog song, I
and,
think.
and hard rock. I mean, they walk both lines. Like they're very unique, like what they
Yeah,
did. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, man, this was pretty good. And we are
yeah,
gonna continue the next weeks on our progressive rock journey.
yeah.
Continue to be with us, join us, comment below your opinions on some of this great music that we're talking about. Go out there, listen to the bands Cheech talked about, especially in the Court of the Crimson King. If you want a good
Yes.
place to start, I think that's good to open
Start
the
there.
floodgates.
And if you like that, you like Greg Lake's voice, jump into Emerson Lake and Palmer's first album. Because
Which
that's where
is
we're gonna go. ELP. Just the first album, Emerson,
For our
Lake and
viewers
Palmer.
out there, ELP.
Yeah, check that out. And then to go overseas, North American prog rock, Left Overture, 2112, because Canada's North America. Trump hasn't taken it away from us yet, you know. Um, it's still North America. 2112, Hemispheres, Farewell to Kings. We could go on and on.
Oh man,
You're the Sticks guy, so what do you recommend? Pieces of
dude,
Eight.
Pieces of Eight, The Grand Illusion, and Crystal Ball. And
Yeah.
if you're up for it, um, I think the album's called Paradise Theater.
Oh
Do you remember that
yeah.
one?
Yes.
That
Yeah.
one's
Yeah.
one of the last
Oh, grew
great,
up
but
with that one. Yeah.
and even some of the early Dennis DeYoung stuff. It's fantastic. Um,
Yeah.
but
Lady.
but
Ladies.
oh
Oh my
yeah.
God. Oh my
Oh
God.
dude, that song is just epic. And but a good place to start, just to make it simple, is the Grand Illusion. Listen to
Grand
that, and then go from there. And if you love that,
Grand Illusion, Left Overture, and Rush. That's the best. And Frank Zappa. Just pick anything you want. Joe's
yeah,
Garage.
Frank.
I don't
No,
know.
if you're ready, go for Frank Zappa. But I feel like that's like level 100. Not yet. Like
Yeah,
you really
but
got to.
but we would be sinning if we did not mention Frank
Oh,
because
oh.
because the
Well,
greatest.
well,
He's not
well,
even a prog
well.
rock
Just,
guy. He's
well,
a
just to quote.
composer.
Well, just to quote Deep Purple, Frank Zappa and the Mothers. Like,
Exactly.
dude, they got
Like,
name checked in the greatest rock and roll song of all
oh
time. I
yeah.
mean, that goes to show you their legendary status.
Oh
Dan,
yeah.
dan, down, 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 down. If anyone for
And
our
and
viewers out
and
there that don't know.
I and Bobby was asking me, do you think Purple's proggy? And I'm like, definitely. They have
Oh,
proggy
so
elements.
Purple,
Yeah,
now again, Deep Purple is another strange band because they walk this fine line between, but the way I view them is that I view them as a operatic rock, which progressive rock was already adopting.
yeah,
And what's fascinating is that Richie Blackmore is a classical guitarist, even in something the way he plays and the introduction of the organ, like
John
on
Ward. He's a
dude is
beast. He plays
dude,
classical, blues,
yep,
and then they played with an orchestra. So they're definitely
yep. A-
prog
a-
influenced.
And most of them were good looking. I mean, Ian Gillan was a good looking dude, so they had that rock and roll swagger. So they're
That's
very
it.
unique,
That's what
but
made him different than the prog rock band. Except for Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Those guys were rock
well,
stars.
yes, they look like soft rockers, but then they'll break out their instruments. You're like, whoa, what the heck?
I know. I mean, Keith Emerson is just God, scary, scary good.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, the prog rock dudes, they're not the best lookers. I respect them because how I don't respect looks as much as like if I see like Robert Fripp, if you just watch a YouTube video of Robert Fripp playing, oh
Yeah,
my goodness. I mean, he'll look like
genius.
a dad, like he'll wear
Yeah,
some polo and like, but then he'll be ripping on that guitar and like you'll be like,
yeah. I
whoa,
mean,
that's crazy.
and really listen to Steve Hackett. When you listen to
Eh,
Genesis, listen to how good
yes.
Steve Hackett is.
Steve Hackett makes me laugh because he'll be sitting down. He gives no F's. Like
He does it.
most of these musicians, and it's funny. Genesis is fascinating because the only one that was kind of had swagger was Phil Collins. Like
Yeah, yeah,
he was the one to actually take off his shirt and like
yeah.
and like, you'll see him play in the back, like very cool. Tony Banks will hide behind his keyboards, but
And another guy we'll get into, Mike Rutherford, the
Mike
most
Rutherford,
Mike underrated bass player in the world.
I think he's the most humblest of prog rock players. Like he's
Yeah.
so humble, even in interviews when you like I feel like he's such a great dude and
Oh yeah.
such a high class musician. I mean, Mike Rutherford, especially he uses those skills and like puts them to good use in the pop world with Mike and the Mechanics later
Oh,
on.
oh yeah.
Like like
What they became is so funny. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
no, I know he goes from to
Watchers in the Sky to Mike and
dude,
the
dude,
Mechanics.
just say for our viewers out there, if you want some perspective. Now, if you watch a video of Watches in the Sky, watch it live, and you're gonna be weirded out. And just you're gonna see this tall dude just playing this insane bass line, going from to Mike and the Mechanics,
I know.
or two songs like you see the hand and visible touch, and you
Oh
just see
my God.
like
It's like
dude,
almost what happened to Genesis in the
dude,
80s. Like, how do
I
you go from like Supper's Ready, Watchers in the Sky, uh, to all those studio? Like, how do you? Rush didn't do that. You know what I mean? I always give you
no,
even
no,
Emerson, Lake and Palmer. They tried
no.
to make
I,
albums that in
I
the 80s.
I will say like Rush didn't do that, which I respect them and they continue to make great music. And again, I'm not saying Mike the Mechanics is not good, or I'm not saying that Genesis Invisible Touch. I actually love Invisible Touch. But when you go from, see, watching Phil Collins just drum, and I showed you his version of the Carpet Crawlers,
Oh
where
yeah,
it's so stunning, it's like so operatic, especially when he's
yeah,
like the Carpet Crawlers, heed their callers, and then he hits that, you gotta get in to get out, like, and
yeah.
he's trying to copy that Gabriel line to, you see the hand and
I always like question. I'm like, what happened? And money, money. But they probably were like they're musicians and they grew in a different direction. I give them credit for that.
a funny one. It's no fun being
Oh
an
my God,
illegal.
I like that album though. That's a good
Me
album.
too. No, no, I love. Again, I'm not trying. We're just having fun right now. But you
Yeah.
know, he goes from that to becoming very 80s. Like Bill Collins was the 80s. Like
Oh
you know,
God, yeah.
yeah. And another one. Bill Collins also became. It's weird. He looks like an office tech dude, but at the same time became one of
No.
the kind of like sex symbols of the 80s with his music. Like
Yeah, yeah.
songs like Easy Lover.
Looks like an ATL.
Looks like a dude. He looks like a certain ATL, bro. I can't. And it's funny because then he also has, studio, and he puts on the suit,
Oh
like trying to
God.
copy the Soul's music,
Yeah.
and there's another one where he's like, oh, one more night.
Oh, they're
Uh,
great songs
no, no,
though.
no, 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 no. Again,
They stay in
no,
your
no, no.
head.
The music is amazing, but it's just for me, it's funny how these proggers go from that. Another funny one is yes. Okay. Um, the album that has Owner of a Lonely Heart,
Yeah.
that album is great. It's a great album.
90182, yeah.
901, 901A2. Great album. The video is horrific. Like they're just like owner of a lonely heart. And they're just
God,
like so wooden. I'm like, oh
I know
gosh.
because these guys came from playing live on stage.
Right, right.
Now they got to be video guys. They don't know what to do.
Dude,
They're,
and
they have
dude,
no
and
clue. They're just
dude,
musicians,
dude,
you
it's
know?
horrific. And they go from, it's just funny because they go from I'll be the roundabout to,
Yeah.
there's a song. I love it. I love all the songs on the Owner of a Lonely Heart album. And they have one song, it can happen to you.
That's a
It
great
can
song.
happen to
Yeah.
me. No, it's great. But it's just watching this evolution. And Jess just becomes a little more accessible as,
When you
obviously
think
in
about Owner of the Lonely Hearts, that riff is classic.
oh,
Boom, dun,
dan,
dun, dun, dun.
dan, dan. No, and what they do is space. Like
Yeah.
it's very echoey, but they fill it up with these, grand notes
And they knew how
and
to use 80s technology. They
yep, you
blended it
hear it.
well.
Yep,
Now,
yep.
big generator. A couple years later, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. They sell out
No,
too much, and I think Genesis
yeah,
happened with Mike and the Mechanics too, kind of in a way, and
yeah,
Invisible Touch. Um, but again, great music, and they
yeah.
define like Owner of a Lonely Heart was a massive hit.
It
Like,
was a big. It was the biggest hit they ever
dude,
had. It was
I
big.
mean, I mean, the video is terrible, but the
They
song is
made
good.
more money off that song than they did off Roundabout. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Think about
So,
it, because
so,
they hit MTV, which is like
so
way more
dude,
than
they
they,
sold their
here.
souls for MTV, but in the end, came out winning because they just became more bigger. Um,
Oh yeah,
but all right, Cheech, I think this is time, brother. This was a
yeah.
lot of fun.
Great
Um,
episode. This is our 70th episode.
this
You'll
is our
probably
70th
see
episode.
a
So
fun commercial
happy
pop up.
70th episode. I'm so happy, man.
70
Like,
episodes of the Cheech and Manny show. This is amazing. Thank you, Manny, for making this happen. Thank you, subscribers and
Thank you.
fans.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
everybody. And Silky Joe, one of our number one fan and fellow hosts, like
yeah, Silky Joe and all our guests that we had. DJ Daquan, the chef, Mark,
and,
my brother-in-law, the
and shout
great.
out to Charlie and Caitlin, two awesome friends of my other friend who gave us the best compliments. They watch our show and they're
Oh,
sometimes they
awesome.
get so overwhelmed with our musical knowledge, which but don't get overwhelmed. Just watch, like
Yeah.
we love music. We're here for the music, and
Yep.
we want to make sure that we save the music as well. So that's our
Yeah.
we're the professors of rock, even though I know there's a professor of rock already.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. He's amazing. We love that guy. But we're the professors of our area here.
Yeah.
So
We want to preach to people. We want to teach. We want to preserve. We want to show them what's out there. So many great musicians, so many great bands, so many great songs, and we want hopefully people to go back and buy Leftoverture.
yeah,
Listen to that album. Court of the Crimson King. Listen to that album and appreciate it. And hopefully, some kid might listen to this and be like, "I never heard of prog rock. I'm gonna listen to King Crimson," and be like, and get his mind completely fucked.
yeah,
That's the goal. And it's amazing how King Crimson, Kansas, like all these bands, this whole movement of prog rock, how it just blew up from
yeah.
England to North America. You know,
And if anything, I think it's one of the greatest genres of music. I mean, just
I think it is.
but that by the end of our journey, we'll prove that with this
Oh
dissertation.
yeah,
But
yeah. This is a
uh,
dissertation on prog rock, including all the albums we're gonna break down. We're gonna bring
yo,
Silky Joe back, and next
yes.
week we're gonna take a break from prog rock because it is
Okay.
Christmas time, and
Merry Christmas. Yeah, we're gonna
we're
bring
gonna
it
do
back to Saint Nick.
the big four Christmas Christmas albums, the big four.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll do that. I know you got to run,
Love it,
but
man.
thank you, Manor. Happy 70th, and we're gonna keep moving forward in the new year.
All right, brother. It was great to join you in the halls of the Crimson King, and we came out
Yes,
unscathed. So
we did
now we'll
definitely.
see. We'll take a trip back to England, and we'll
And then
deal with our boy CLP.
I gotta wake up and deal with a 21st century schizoid man for 8 hours. Oh well, what am I gonna do? It's a paycheck. On that note.
21st century skits. So I cut club.
Make sure you have your cut glove. Make sure you have your name tag on.
Dude, we were dealing with priests and all this. We're schizoids, man. But that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to be a schizoid. Describe schizoids. We get you.
Be a
Anyway, Cheech.
21st schizoid man. Subscribe, like, and I will see you on the other side. Nanu, nanu. All
Yes,
right, Manny.
sir. All right, Cheech. Have a good
Take care,
night,
brother.
brother.
Have a
You
good night.
too.
Take care. Bye bye.
Hey, Cheech, you know what
Yeah,
today is in podcast history, man?
say that again. I didn't hear you.
Do you know what today is in podcast history of the Cheech and
I
Manny show?
I actually do. We're going to be filming our 70th episode. Isn't that crazy? 70
Dude,
episodes.
dude, that is crazy, man. Is that true? Can we fact check that?
We can totally fact check that. And not only do you get music, you get true crime and horror in those 70 episodes. And about 20 of them are our good friend Silky Joe. And we've had some great guests in the past too, Daquan the chef and Mark. So where we've done everything from rap to prog rock. So it's our 70th episode. I'm looking forward to recording it today.
Well, listen, man, we got so much to celebrate on the Cheech and Manny Music Show. Subscribe, and we'll see you on here.
See you on the other side.
Join us on our 70th episode. So exciting.
Definitely.
2, 3, 4.